right, today we're going to do the math practice and problem solving. This is the lesson that ties in everything we've done in the whole topic and applies it to real world situations. At a baseball game, Sheena bought a sandwich for $6.95 and two pretzels for $2.75 each. She paid with a $20 bill. How much change did she receive? Solve the problem any way you choose and use the bar diagram. So remember the bar diagram is a strategy that helps you organize your thoughts. So we're going to use the bar diagram today. And let's see what we're starting out with. Now, we don't know whether we're adding or subtracting, so we're going to have to figure that out. So she bought a sandwich for $6.95 and two pretzels for $2.75. She paid with $20. How much change should she receive? We have two bar diagrams because we have to do two different things. The first thing we need to do is figure out how much she spent. So we're going to use this bar diagram. She bought one sandwich for $6.95. And she bought two pretzels for $1.75 each, or $2.75 each. So the first thing we have to figure out is how much did she spend? So we're going to add $6.95 and $2.75 two times. And when I'm writing them, I'm lining up the decimals, starting from the smallest place value, 5, 10, 15. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. 7 plus 7 is 14. 10 plus 14 is 24. Put the 4 down, carry the 2. Put my decimal. Your decimal line's right up. 2, 4, 6 plus 6 is 12. So she spent $12.45 altogether. Now she's paying with a $20 bill. And we know she spent $12.45. So we're trying to figure out how much her change is. So now we have another problem, and this is a subtraction problem. So on this one, we start with our $20. She spent $12.45. I'm going to subtract. We're going to have to borrow. 5, we can't take 5 away from 0, can't take it away from 0, can't take it away from 0. So we're going to have to start doing some borrowing here. So 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 4 is 5, 7 minus 2, or 9 minus 2 is 7, and 1 minus 1 is nothing. So we know that our change is $7.55. So that is using the bar diagram to help us organize our thoughts. So we had two problems. First, we had to find out how much she spent. That was our unknown value, which we figured out. And then we had to find out what her change was. So that is applying the strategy of adding subtractions and adding decimals and subtracting decimals. Okay, moving on. And actually, we can go to the bottom here. What other way can you represent this situation? You can use an equation, and that's what we're going to be moving to. So in our equation, that's when we write $6.95. Can actually, if you want to get fancy here, which you can, we can say $6.95 plus 2. Let me make it too fancy for you. 2 times $2.75 equals, what does it equal? $12.55. Got fancy and threw some multiplication of decimals in there. You remember you can use an equation. I can rewrite that with just using addition. You can take these, you can put the brackets in, you can take the brackets out, whichever way. Remember, because we have the associative property of addition, we can move things around in addition and still get the same answer. And then for our other, that was our first value, our first step in our problem. And the second step, we took $20 and we subtracted 1255 to get 755. So that is using an equation, and the model on top of it was using the bar diagram. So there's two different ways to illustrate how you would solve that problem. Whenever you see the words use an equation, that's when you're going to write that linear math problem. Write it out in a straight line. How can you represent a problem with bar diagrams? And I told you these are really, really, really important for you to learn. They are a way to organize your math thinking and a way for a reader to understand your work. So Monica wants to buy all of the art supplies shown on this sign. She has a coupon for $5.50 off the cost of her purchase. What will Monica's total cost be after the discount? So she wants to buy all of the things. So we're going to have to add all of them. And she has a coupon for $5.50. Let's see what I'm going to have to do. I'm just going to think over here. Well, I'm going to have to add all the supplies. And then she has a coupon for $5.50. So I'm going to have to subtract the coupon. And if you've ever done shopping, you know this is how it works. The items are added up and then the coupon is subtracted. What will Monica's total cost be after the discount? So we have two problems to solve. And as you're looking down below, you'll see they made a bar diagram, because first we have to figure out what is the total cost. That would be what I did up here for number one. I want to add everything. So on the bar diagram, you list all the items and the total cost is listed at the top as an unknown. And I'm going to move you into using a variable, using a letter to show that unknown. That will help us move into algebra. By solving this problem, you are finding an algebraic solution. Don't get scared by that word algebra. You're just figuring out the answer of the unknown quantity. So that's the first thing we do, is we find out how much everything costs. Then when we find the total, we make another bar diagram. Now we have the total, and we know what we're going to subtract out, the coupon, but we don't know what is the total after the discount. That's what we're trying to figure out. That is our unknown. So then we're going to be subtracting. So that is using the bar diagram model to help you organize your thinking and show it in a very organized fashion, so the reader will understand the process that you went to come up with your answer. If you were using a calculator on this, which you're welcome to use a calculator to help you out if you need that, you still have to show how you got your answer. So using a calculator is only going to give you the answer. It doesn't show the reader how you got the answer. So make sure you're showing it on a bar diagram. How could you decide if your answer makes sense? And you could figure out if it makes sense. You can round to figure out if your answer is close. That's probably the best way to see if it makes sense before you do your work. You can use rounding. We always use rounding to help see if our answer is logical. In the guided practice, Nate has $30.50. He wants to buy a dog sweater that costs $15, a toy that costs $3.79, and a leash that costs $14.79. How much more money does he need? What do you need to find out before you can solve the problem? So the first thing we're going to need to do is we need to find the total cost. So in this part, you're just going to be writing some words. They're just trying to see if you understand how to solve the problem. They're going to find the total cost of all the items, all the stuff that he wants to buy. Draw bar diagrams to represent the problem and then solve the problem. Show the equations you want to use. So we have two different things to do here. So the bar diagram, we don't know what the whole cost is. That's the first thing we're doing, remember? And we're going to add $30.50. We're going to add $15 and $3.79 and $14.79. So we're going to add all those together. And if you write an equation for that, you would write 30.50 with your dollar sign plus $15 plus, I have to go to the next line, because I don't have enough room here. 379 plus 1479 equals, and the total on that, when we add it all together, you line it all up and add it together, the total cost is $33.58. Line all your values up, you get your total cost. So that's the first thing you're going to do. And the second thing you're going to do is he has 30, the total cost is $33.58. He has, $30.50. Wow, I just saw a giant mistake there. There we go. That's not part of the bar diagram. Silly me. I even misread it. Mrs. Brennan makes mistakes too. And I just looked at my answer. I'm like, wait a minute, that is not big enough. I put too many values in there. That is what he's starting out with. So really your bar diagram, let me rewrite that over here. 15, 379, and 1479. There it is. Okay, now that makes sense. So that is your first bar diagram. Your first equation is 15 plus 379 plus 1479 equals. Your second equation is your bar diagram looks like this. And we know he has 30.50, and we're trying to figure out how much more money he needs. So your second equation would be 33.50. I don't know what happened to my 8 up there. It disappeared. 58 minus 30.50 equals, or in our final answer there, he's going to need $3.08. And remember, when you are subtracting, 33.58 minus 30.50, line everything up, subtract. So that is the bar diagram for the first step, the bar diagram for the second step, the equation for the first step, and the equation for the second step. So, oops. Oh my goodness. My touch screen is being silly today. All right, so make sure your answers are organized. I don't have enough space to answer on here. You probably don't have enough space to answer in your workbook. You should be doing your work in a notebook or on a whiteboard. If you do it on a whiteboard, you don't get to go back and check your work. And when you get to middle school, everything needs to be in a notebook. So you might want to get in the habit of getting everything written neatly in a notebook. It will help you when you get into middle school. I promise you. All right, as I scoot down here in the independent practice, again, you are going to have the same kind of problems. They're going to give you a word problem, and you're going to have to logically think, what are the steps to solve the problem? So you can go off and do your buddy work. You can do your book work. Just make sure you get your quick check done. All right, have a great day.